Welcome back to Go Right with Peter Boykin. I am your constitutionalist for liberty. It's time for the Go Right with Peter Boykin perspective. Today we're talking about citizenship, sovereignty, and the Constitution. The Constitution is not supposed to be a weapon we swing only when it helps our side. It is the rule book that keeps the whole republic from falling apart. And that is why this ruling matters. I understand the frustration. We have millions of people entering this country illegally or abusing temporary status. We have people who do not respect our laws. They do not share our values and still want the benefits of American soil. Then a child is born here, and suddenly that child receives citizenship in the greatest nation on earth. And that should make us ask hard questions. But hard questions still need constitutional answers. America is not just dirt. America is an idea. Citizenship should mean you are tied to that idea. You grow up with the Constitution, with our rights, with our responsibilities, with the understanding that liberty is not free and citizenship is not just a loophole. If birthright citizenship no longer serves the country the way it was intended to serve the country after the Civil War, then amend the Constitution. Make the case, build the coalition, go state by state, win the argument in public, and that is how a republic works. We should secure the border. We should stop birth tourism. We should deport people who break our laws. We should enforce visas. We should require loyalty to America from anyone who wants the privilege of becoming American. But we should not pretend the Constitution says something different simply because the current situation is broken. The court handed the country a reminder. If you want to change constitutional citizenship, you need a constitutional amendment. That's not defeat. That is the next battlefield. This is Go Right with Peter Boykin, the Constitutionalist for Liberty. You can visit gorightnews.com and peterboykin.com and plenty of other sites out there. God bless everybody, and don't forget to go right.
Go right! Go right! With Peter Boykin. When the headlines shake and the gavel falls, we stand for truth through the marble halls. Constitution first, liberty in sight. Turn the noise down and let's go right. Go right with Peter Boykin. Raise the torch, keep freedom spoken. Go right for the red, white, and blue. Constitutional fire coming straight to you. Go right with Peter Boykin.
Hi folks, this is Peter Boykin. I'm your constitutionalist for liberty, and I am on gorightnews.com and peterboykin.com, and today we're going to talk about the news that just came in about birthright citizenship, and it survived the Supreme Court. Now the fight moves to the Constitution. So we're just going to go right on here and go, a baby born on American soil is still an American citizen. Now, that is the legal reality after the Supreme Court rejected President Donald Trump's effort to restrict birthright citizenship through executive order. The court upheld the broad understanding of the 14th Amendment and rejected the argument that children born in the United States to illegal immigrants or temporary residents can be denied citizenship by presidential action alone. Reuters reported the ruling was 6-3, and AP described the decision as upholding the long-settled view that nearly everyone born in the country is a citizen, with very limited exceptions. That does not mean the debate is over. It means the debate has moved where it always belonged, to the Constitution itself. The Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, that language was adopted after the Civil War to make sure freed slaves and their children could not be denied citizenship by hostile states or political majorities. Now, federal law also mirrors that principle in 8 U.S.C. 1401A, which says a person born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a citizen at birth. Now, for more than a century, the major Supreme Court precedent has been United States versus Wong Kim Ark from 1898. In that case, the court ruled that a man born in San Francisco to Chinese parents was a citizen because he was born in the United States and his parents were not foreign diplomats or officials. The modern court has now left that broad principle standing. This is why an executive order was always the weakest tool for this fight, but it might have been necessary as a start. A president cannot amend the Constitution by pen. Congress cannot override the Constitution by ordinary statute. Even a future Congress passing a normal law would immediately run into the same 14th Amendment problems unless the Supreme Court changed its interpretation. So the honest path is not pretending the president can fix this alone. The honest path is a constitutional amendment. So America is not the only country with birthright citizenship. I know it's a common misconception. There is a common claim that America is the only country in the world that grants citizenship this way. And that is not accurate. Now, Pew Research Center found that 32 other countries have birthright citizenship laws substantially similar to the United States, and around 50 more countries have more limited versions. However, Pew also noted that U.S.-style birthright citizenship is uncommon outside the Western Hemisphere. In other words, America is not alone, but America is part of a smaller group of countries that still grants broad citizenship based mostly on birthplace. And that matters because the world has changed. The 14th Amendment was written in the shadow of slavery, Reconstruction, and Dred Scott. It was meant to stop government from creating a permanent caste system of people born here, living here, working here, and still told they did not belong. And that principle was noble. But today's immigration crisis raises a different question. Does automatic citizenship still serve the national interest when people can cross the border illegally, overstay visas, engage in birth tourism, or deliberately use American soul as a citizenship shortcut without any real commitment to the country? And that is a fair question. Citizenship should mean more than location. It should mean allegiance, attachment, responsibility, and a future led and tied to the American experiment. The whole point of citizenship is not just paperwork. It is membership in a constitutional republic. The real problem is citizenship without civic attachment. The concern is not a child. A newborn does not choose where he or she is born. The concern is the system. When citizenship becomes something that can be obtained through illegal entry, temporary presence, or strategic travel, it weakens the meaning of citizenship for everyone. It creates incentives for people to treat America less like a nation and more like a benefits office, legal shield, or future political investment. That does not mean every immigrant family is abusing the system. Many immigrants love this country. They work hard, they raise patriotic children, they serve in our military, they build businesses, they become better Americans than some people born here. But a constitutional republic has the right to ask whether citizenship should be tied to a parent's lawful and lasting connection to the country. Should a child born to American citizens be a citizen? Yes. Should a child born to lawful permanent resident who has made America home be a citizen? Now that's a strong argument. Should a child born to someone who came here illegally came temporarily or came specifically to give birth automatically to receive the same citizenship status? That is the question the court has now said cannot be answered by executive order. It must be answered by a constitutional amendment. Now, what would a birthright citizenship amendment, what could it say? A serious amendment would need to be narrow, clear, and prospective. It should not strip citizenship from people who already have it. Retroactive citizenship fights would cause chaos and would punish people for a system they did not create. A possible amendment framework could say, citizenship by birth in the United States shall apply only to persons born to at least one parent who, at the time of birth, is a citizen of the United States, a lawful permanent resident of the United States, or otherwise lawfully domiciled in the United States under rules established by Congress. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Now, that language is only a starting point. Congress and the states would need to debate the details. Should lawful permanent residents count? Should active duty military families count? Should refugees and asylees count? Should, quote, lawful domicile be defined by Congress? These are exactly the kinds of questions that should be handled openly through the constitutional process, not slipped through by executive order. Which leads to how to amend the Constitution. Article 5 gives two ways to propose an amendment. First, Congress can propose an amendment if 2/3 of both chambers agree. That means 290 votes in the House if all 435 seats are filled, and 67 votes in the Senate. Then the amendment must be ratified by 3/4 of the states, which means 38 states. Second, 2/3 of state legislatures can apply for a convention to propose amendments. That's the scary part, folks. That means 34 states. Any amendment proposed through that route must still be ratified by 38 states. And a lot of people have been trying to do this for reasons to get rid of term limits. I'm wary of it because people might be able to make a change to our Second Amendment. That's the scary part about it. Now, the president does not formally sign or veto a constitutional amendment. This is not a normal bill. This is the people, the states, and Congress changing the supreme law of the land. And that high bar is intentional. The Constitution is not supposed to change every time the political winds shift. But if the country truly believes birthright citizenship has become outdated or abused, then supporters of reform need to do the hard work. They need to win Congress, they need to win state legislatures, they need to win public argument, and they need to win the amendment. So what do we all need to do next if you're interested? First, we need to stop pretending this can be fixed by slogans. The court has now made clear that broad birthright citizenship remains protected under the Constitution as currently interpreted. Second, build a real amendment movement. That means model language, state resolutions, congressional sponsors, legal scholars, immigration experts, and grassroots pressure. Third, make the amendment an argument about citizenship, not cruelty. This should not be about punishing children. It should be about restoring the meaning of American citizenship and making sure it is tied to lawful connection, civic responsibility, and national loyalty. Fourth, secure the border and enforce existing immigration law. A constitutional amendment will take years, if it happens at all. We know how Congress is. It probably won't ever happen. In the meantime, the country still needs serious border control, visa enforcement, e-verify, penalties for fraud, and stronger action against birth tourism operations. Maybe saying, hey, you come to this country, you better not be pregnant. Fifth, protect the Constitution, even when we dislike the outcome. That is the conservative answer. We do not defend the Constitution only when it gives us the result we wanted. We defend the process because the process is what protects every other right. Because ultimately, folks, citizenship should mean something. The Supreme Court did not say birthright citizenship is good policy. It said the Constitution, as written and interpreted, protects it. And that distinction matters. A policy can be outdated and still constitutional. A policy can be frustrating and still protected. A policy can need reform and still require an amendment. And the next step is not rage, people. The next step is Article 5. If America wants to change birthright citizenship, then America must do it the constitutional way. Not by executive order, not by bureaucratic workaround, not by pretending Congress can pass a normal law and erase the 14th Amendment. A constitutional republic requires constitutional solutions.
A gavel fell in marble halls, a nation heard the sound. The question was not settled, it was moved to higher ground. Born beneath the stars and stripes, wrapped in law and light. A baby has no border, a child has no fight, but a nation has a question written deep in ink. What does citizenship mean when we stand at the brink? Not by a pen, not by a throne, not by a promise made alone. If we change the sacred line, we do it by design. The fight moves to the Constitution, to the words we swore to keep, to the rights of a republic and the promises buried deep. If the law needs a new direction, then the people must decide. Raise the flag, read the page, let Article V be tried. The fight moves to the Constitution, where the soul of freedom lives. Citizenship should mean something more than what the loophole gives. The 14 spoke for freedom when chains were being broken. It answered Dred Scott's shadow with the words that still are spoken. But the border tells another tale. The world has changed its face. Some come for the promise, some come to gain the place. So make the case and make it plain, through every state, through every name. Not anger in the street, but the republic on its feet. The fight moves to the Constitution, to the words we swore to keep, to the rights of a republic and the promises buried deep. If the law needs a new direction, then the people must decide. Raise the flag, read the page, let Article V be tried. The fight moves to the Constitution, where the soul of freedom lives. Citizenship should mean something more than what the loophole gives. 38 states must answer, 2/3 must take the stand. No king can write the future with a trembling, angry hand. We are not ruled by panic, we are not ruled by fear. We are bound by the parchment that brought this nation here. Secure the border, honor the law, protect the child, respect it all. But if we change the meaning of who belongs by birth, then do it through the process that gives the change its worth. The fight moves republic and the promises